So, hello everybody. We made it to August. Today is Friday, August 1st. This is the 4 o'clock 9M class 4 out of 10. And we are beginning a new assignment today that has two phases. The first phase we're going to focus on today. Once we've composed and figured out what we're doing for the first phase, then I'll share what you're doing for the second phase. But basically what we're doing for this assignment is we're going to be watching a silent film, a stop motion film. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time giving you some background about stop motion films, et cetera, so that we've got an idea about what's happening. You're going to see a lot is demonstrated through the stop motion film, all the things that you need in a story. And you are going to be writing that story based on what you see on screen. All right, cool, Daniel. I'm glad that you've seen some before. We're going to talk about that. So you guys are in the slideshow. I can see your icons on the screen. And we're on the title page, Narrate a Stop Motion Film, Phase 1. The prompt is you are going to choose a character from this silent film and narrate the film's story from that character's perspective. There's only two characters, and they're both dogs. Okay, the agenda. MLA format, set up doc. Hold on just a moment, everybody.
Wait, why does a dog have a pet dog?
That's a good question. And speaking of dogs, mine are making noise in the background. So hold on a moment here. Oh, good, they quit. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Dogs with pet dogs. However, both of the characters are dogs in this story. Sec. Mm. I'm back. All right, so we're going to start off MLA format. So in my class, and Coco, you're new, so I'm going to be talking about some things for your benefit. We do everything in what's called Modern Language Association format, which is just a particular font, size, spacing, and margins. Makes it much easier for a teacher to communicate with students. And you may have already been working on MLA format. Do you remember that in classes? Okay, great. So this is going to be smooth going for you. We're going to also follow the context. We're going to talk about the art form, which Daniel, you posted in chat that you're familiar with, which is great. I bet all of us are familiar with it in one way, shape, or form, which is kind of cool. The purpose of what you're writing is to show instead of tell Archie's story. And there's a lot of different ways that we do that in this class. And we'll get into those different techniques. Hi, Cecily, welcome. Glad you could make it. We're starting the new assignment, Cess. So just go ahead and open up the slideshow. Actually, Cecily, in your class, is it posted already or not? It's not. Okay. Let me go ahead and post it in your class. Pardon me, everybody. Cecily's joining us for today. So let me put this. Yours is that Saturday, 1:30, isn't that right? Okay, let's do this. Let's see. What's today? Let me edit this really quickly for you. We're gonna do it today, 101. Oops, 21. And what time is it right now? Let me see if I can do it. 4:10. Let's do 4:11. Let's see if that works, Cecily, okay? Let me know if that opens up for you. Let me know when that opens up for you. Otherwise, I'll repost it. Okay, back to the slideshow. We're just moving through the setup right now, Cecily, so no stress. Okay, so our purpose we talked about, we are then going to watch the short silent film and take notes. So there is a link to that film. If you on your own you want to go ahead and click on that, open it up. I already shared with Elvin. Please quickly as possible. And this is for you, but get or skip through those ads and you can prepare that short film for yourself there. All right, then we're going to do some brainstorming and we're going to be taking some notes. Okay, you'll be taking some notes while you're watching. We'll watch it through one time. It's just about 4.5 minutes. It's really short, but it's very rich in information. And then we're going to start getting into your brainstorming, your pre-writing notes. Daniel, you can't open it? You should be able to open it because this is in your class. Do you mean Daniel, can you unmute and talk with me instead of using chat here? You can open the slide, but not,
In slide 2, there's a picture. Isn't that supposed to be a video?
yeah, it's down on slide 6 where it has a
Oh, I
YouTube
can't
clip
find.
there. Okay.
I thought it
All
was
right.
slide 2.
Okay. Moving through, we're going to do some brainstorming, pre-writing. You're going to choose the character that you're going to be writing for. Now, both of them are dogs. Elvin was talking about it earlier. Archie is a dog, and he has a pet dog. And then there's also some kind of flashbacks in this video, which is also of a dog. But we're only going to be using either Archie or his pet dog. Then we're going to talk about using time words, time phrases, and action verbs. We're going to be answering the important questions that you'll be responding to: who, what, when, where, why, and how, and using sensory details to paint a picture for your reader. Understanding the meaning and message of the story, and then the homework is going to be to write your story. So here we go. Slide 3, everybody. Cecily, were you able to access the slideshow? Did it activate for you? That's great. Okay. All right, so let's have everybody open up a fresh Google Doc, please. Please give me a head nod or a thumbs up when you have a document open. Thank you, Coco. Elvin, are you giving a thumbs up? I can't tell. Yes, thank you. Little sarcasm there. Daniel, yeah, okay. Cecily, got a doc?
I think like you only posted the slideshow.
Oh, that's right, because your assignment. Okay, so let me do this really quickly for Cecily. Let me do this, scheduled for tomorrow. Let's just go ahead and do this. And I'm just going to assign. Okay, tell me if that worked for you, Cecily, for the assignment. Okay, good news. All right, you guys. So let's start off. You got your document open. Cecily, you're a pro at this. You can catch up. At the top of your document in your toolbar, please choose only Times New Roman font. Okay, so within your font layout here, choose Times New Roman only, size 12 only, double spacing only. Daniel's ready. Good. Elvin's ready. Cecily and Coco, good. All right. Now, what I'd like you to do before you start copying and pasting, I'd like you to do the 4-line heading on your own, please. So I want you to type your first and last name. Please make sure that you always in this class use correct writing conventions. So correct capitalization, spacing, punctuation, et cetera, et cetera. So your name in the heading is the first line. You press return, and the second line in MLA format is always the teacher's name, whoever your teacher is. In this case, it's me, Mrs. Morrison. The third line is the class and the assignment. Now, not all teachers require the assignment, but I do. So you write writing first because this is a writing class, colon space, and our assignment is narrate a film. You don't need these markers, okay? You don't have to write those. Those are just me telling you what goes on each line. The last line is the date, and the date actually is 1 August 2025. And you always put the day first, then the month, then the year. When this looks correct, would you please go ahead and give me a thumbs up? Daniel's ready, Elvin's ready, Coco's ready, Cecily's ready. Awesome, you guys. Okay, now let's practice the copying and pasting. So the prompt is first. You've got your prep work, which is going to have lots of info. Go all the way down to center title and paste that onto your doc underneath the heading. If it does not translate correctly in the font, the correct font size, which sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, then please make sure that it is all in size 12. Should look like this. Once again, thank you, Daniel. Let me know. All right, thank you, Coco. Cecily, is that a yes? Are you ready on the copy paste? Did it work? Okay. Elvin, yes? Fantastic. All right, you guys, here we go. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about what it is we're going to be writing. And the context is stop motion animation, which is super cool. I'm sure you've seen it in many different forms. It's definitely an art form. And the silent film version will provide the visual information of the story that you'll put into written form. So stop motion animation, also called stop frame animation, is animation that's captured one frame at a time. It's like taking one picture, click, then moving something and taking another picture, click, okay? With physical objects that are moved between frames. When you play back the sequence of images rapidly, it creates the illusion of movement. There's different types, object motion, like moving or animating objects like Legos. Claymation, moving clay. This over here on the right is a very famous claymation. Two characters called Wallace and Gromit. Wallace is the guy, Gromit's the dog. Pixelation is moving or animating people. Cutout motion, moving paper or 2D material. Puppet animation, puppets like Archie or his pet dog. Silhouette animation, backlighting cutouts. And my question now is, are you familiar with this art form? Daniel said yes. Yes, Daniel? What have you seen that you know is stop motion animation?
Like people like making like cake from like rocks or like trying to show that.
Do you mean like projects, school projects where kids are taking pictures of rocks and the rocks are moving?
In a video, on YouTube video.
Okay. Cecily, Coco, Elvin, have you seen this before? Are any of these familiar?
Once I had to like do a class project on this, so I just like moved like objects really. Like,
Okay, and took pictures?
Yeah.
Object, nice. Elvin, you said yes? Okay, what do you remember? Did you see
It was
anything?
like this like Japanese film.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were like drawn out or something.
Okay, yes, drawings that works as well. Coco, are you familiar with it?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Okay.
I think I have seen a movie or so with like the Wallace and Gromit before, if I'm correct.
Yeah, these characters here. There's a lot of them that are out there. There's one called Pirates or the Pirate Movie. I can't remember the exact name, but there's a bunch. Once you like start paying attention, you'll be like, oh my gosh, that's stop motion animation. Okay, good. So, and I like that you've even shared, Cecily, that you've even created stop motion animation. And I think it's pretty enjoyable. Do you guys enjoy it from what you've seen so far? It's kind of cool. Yeah. All right. So now we're going to talk about the purpose of this assignment. And in all writing assignments in my class, your job is to show with your words instead of tell. Okay. Um, in this case, you are going to become the storyteller. So you'll have to assume that your reader won't know what it is that you're writing about. They haven't seen the film. So you are going to have to set it up for your reader. I'm your reader. We are all each other's readers. Okay. Your writing will demonstrate the key components of storytelling through answering the important questions. We always take notes on this. The who, what, when, where, why, and how of the story. You'll be describing the characters, the setting, the main events, the action, and the meaning of the story. Elvin, are you raising your hand? Okay. You'll need to use time words and phrases, okay? Like lots of stories begin with once upon a time. That's a time word. That's a time phrase, right? You'll use descriptive language. If you don't use descriptive language, your reader's going to say, I have no idea what you're talking about. I can't form an image in my mind. And then sensory details. This is a really fun assignment for sensory details to show your readers the characters, the setting, and the action. The added challenge for this assignment is also to include feelings that will allow you to discuss the sensory perceptions and emotions shown in the film. So this is a step deeper, okay? It is more of a challenge for the assignment. To do this, you must show instead of tell the reader about the emotions, just like the film does through how we watch it, okay? So you'll have to ask yourself, how do I know Archie is sad? And he is, by the way. How can I describe his pet dog's feelings about Archie? Okay, now it's time to watch the silent short film. It's very short. And again, you guys are welcome to open it up on your own, okay? Um, but because you will want to watch it on your own later. So go ahead and if you do open that up, mute it, get through the ad, whatever horrific ad there is. There always is something icky. And you can just get it ready, set up so that you can watch it later on your own. But we are going to watch it together. This link should take you, both of these should take you directly to it. Okay, just had two in case. The film is only 4 minutes and 27 seconds. It has no dialogue. As we watch it in class for the first time, I want you to decide which character's perspective you will tell the story from. Then for the prep work, you'll answer the important questions from that character's perspective. You'll describe several of the sensory perceptions. You'll discuss the actions and the movement of the characters in your notes and include notes about emotions for the challenge. You can access the slideshow anytime this week. You guys have a full week to do this prep work. And that's a little note for you, Coco. We meet once a week, which means you have basically 6.5 days to accomplish whatever the task is. And we always do the prep work first, the preparation, getting into it, the brainstorming, the getting the ideas down. And then you've got a week to do that. And then the next class will move from the prep work into the draft of your story. Okay, here we go. You'll be taking notes on the required information to narrate your story of Archie and his pet. We're getting ready to watch it, okay? And your homework will be to write that story. You'll finish your prep work, and then you're going to try to write the story of the silent stop motion film Archie so descriptively that your reader will be able to picture the story in his mind. All right, here we go. Let's get going on Archie. Here we go. You guys hear it? Yeah? Okay. That's the pet. That's Archie. Notice his look. You can read the text.
It's kind of laggy. Yeah, now there's no sound.
Can't hear sound on my end? All there is music, Daniel. Okay. Here we go. Let's get back to our slideshow. Okay, so now you got an idea about what you're writing about. You will want to be watching this over and over on your own, okay? But let's get ready to do some writing here. So the very first thing you need to do is choose which character you are planning on writing from the perspective of. So you can tell very easily to tell the difference, right? Archie's the brown dog who behaves more like a human, and his pet is the little white dog, I think he's a West Highland Terrier, actually. So choose the perspective, and on your document, I would like you to write the character's name for the title. So Archie is already named, but you could name his pet dog if you choose the pet's perspective. Okay? And I'd like you to make your decision now and share that with me just really quickly. Who are you choosing? While you're deciding, what you'll be doing is you're going to be thinking about how the story is presented from the perspective of that character. So it means that you would include those sensory details, whatever you feel the character sees or feels or thinks or hears or touches or tastes, etc., that's relevant to the story. You'll tell the story from his point of view only. So share when you've made your choice, and you'll have here on this page, there's a couple different examples of how you could begin your story from each character's different point of view. So for Archie, for instance, one fine autumn morning, my devoted pet, in his usual fashion, brought in my mail so I could look it over before we set out on our daily routine. As usual, he paid close attention to me, eyes focused and ears perked, as I opened the letter from my dearest friend, who was like a father to me. Giving him a thankful pat on the head, I opened the letter to read the news. So that's how Archie might start it off. He chose his pet dog. Students in the past who have done this assignment have come up with some very interesting names for the pet. But for him, you could say, I woke up happy on a fine morning last autumn. As usual, I was eager to please my master and friend Archie. Noticing a letter in the mailbox, I knew he would want to look through it while we enjoyed our morning together. So I took it carefully in my mouth and, prancing confidently, set it before him with my unswerving devotion. He rewarded me with a pat on the head, so I'd know he was pleased with my efforts. He's such a kind master. Okay, before we move on, let me know, please, which character you are choosing to tell this story from that perspective. What do you think, Cecily? Archie or his pet?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay. Either of them, both of them are involved in the whole story, even in the second phase. And I don't want to overwhelm you, so we'll talk about the second phase later. Daniel's going to go for the pet. Good, Daniel. And if you would like, you can name him and put his name as the title, or you could just make the title Pet Dog. Pet. Okay, you're going for the pet. 2 pets. Good. 2 pets out of 4 so far. Coco, Cecily, what do you think? It's going to look something like Archie's is the orangey, and the pet dog would be the red.
I would like to choose Archie.
Okay, Coco's got Archie. Nice. Cecily, what do you think? Either one.
Um, maybe the pet, I think.
The pet you think. Yes? All right. So you guys, those of you who are choosing the pet, okay, Coco, you're the only one who's going Archie at this point, but it's okay. All of them are going to be really interesting. Okay. So write the name. Okay. If you choose the name for the pet, you can write his name, make his name up, and or just call him Archie's pet dog or something like that. But that's going to be what you're going to have as a placeholder for your title. Next, we're going to think about some time words and phrases in action using past tense verbs. So this is going to be in past tense. You are going to be telling a story that has already happened from this character's perspective. So I'd like you now to copy and paste to your doc these questions, all right? And for each one, I want you to come up with your own version or something quite similar to this because, you know, we're all telling the same story. So a lot of that information is going to be the same. Your wording is going to be different, but let me see if I've got size 12 here. Oh my goodness. If you copied and pasted, it was probably huge. Yes. Okay, go ahead and copy and paste that. And this, of course, if we look back at your document, is right here under prep work, action verbs, time words, and phrases, right under that. Okay. Now, think about time words and phrases you can share with the class as you talk about the action in the story. What time words or phrases could you use to begin the story? Write the first sentence of your story now. Now, we all start off, okay, with something that's reflective. Once upon a time on a sunny autumn morning. Something like that. Let's look back at the film really quickly. I'm going to start it again, and you can see the beginning. Okay. We'll get back to the rest of this, but let's talk about how you could start this story. The sample, once, you know, you could do once upon a time, but that's a little cheesy, right? Because everybody does that. Well, on a sunny autumn morning, you don't have to do a sunny autumn morning. All right. We do know that we have a lot of weather that our pair has to move through, and there's rain and there's, you know, wind, and it's pretty wild weather. So, whatever you want to do as far as time of year goes, maybe it's spring or maybe it's winter, but it is sunny at the beginning. So start off with a time word and phrase. Okay, and I'd like you to share. Elvin, how are you going to start your story? You could pick a day of the week if you want, okay? Whatever you want, it's got to be some time words or phrases. A regular Monday morning. After sleeping in on a lovely
I
Saturday.
can't tell what season it is.
You can make it up. Knowing that when they leave, when they travel, they have serious weather, that could help you decide, Elvin, on the time of year that you think it might be. Maybe it's spring, maybe it's summer, maybe it's autumn. They have a fire in the fireplace when they get to the friend's house.
Winter.
Okay. Start it off with winter then. Give us a nice beginning, and then you're going to move into it, okay? Your first sentence. Elvin's deciding winter.
Isn't there like too much sun for winter though?
No, winter can be sunny. You know, it could be a not clouded day. Well, as soon as they take off, the weather happens. So maybe you could make your time word or phrase set up with an unusually sunny winter morning. We know it's winter. We know it's morning, right? We know it's morning. And we can pause. We're going to do this more later, but you can pause and actually read the letter. Dear Archie, my dearest wishes for you to have, and it looks like my cottage, probably after I die. Here's the key. All right, so we know what's happening. And then here's a picture of Archie and his friend. And here's a picture of the cottage, and here's the key. So if we go back a little bit, let's see if we've got any other clues for time. Okay, what are they eating? This looks, could be, maybe it's afternoon. Do you think it's afternoon? Does anybody think? This is tea time. It's kind of looks like breakfast. We've got some ideas. We've got a map on the wall here. Most of my students think they're in England. Maybe Ireland. Somewhere close to Scotland, because the cottage seems like Scotland. Yeah, very old fashioned. I love it. All right. Letter came in the mail, so obviously it was sent because the friend passed away, and this was his wish, his will, if you will. All right, you guys good on this? Okay. Coco, what did you decide? How are you starting off your story?
Can you give me a bit more time?
I can give you. Daniel, what about you? How are you starting the story? What do you think?
Maybe describe their house
Describing their house, is that what you're gonna do?
first.
First, okay. So you guys you want to establish in your introduction when, okay. It could be when could be a time, when could be a season, when could be a particular part of the day. Totally up to you. Elvin, do you want to share that out loud? Good deduction here.
No, it's just what I found. I just posted it. I'm not done.
You're welcome to share it with everybody. I like your input. Everybody, it might help everybody else out.
Yeah,
Go
it's
ahead.
just like what I found out like it's like the weather is more rain and wind in Scotland in autumn and winter.
Okay. In the fall and early winter. So you might want to pick one of those seasons. Typically characterized by colder temperatures, frequent and strong winds, substantial rainfall. Well, we know he's going to Scotland. Where he leaves from has to be not too far away, right? And even if he's on the same island, like Scotland and England are, he could be going across, right? One of these, like the peninsula or one of these sections. Okay, you're going for autumn. I think in the sample I also went for autumn, so. All right, so get it started, you guys. Take a bite out of it. You can change it later if you want. It's totally up to you. But let's get going. Yes, Daniel, that's what we're to figure out. According to the letter, his friend died and left him, Archie, the cottage that his friend lived in. Make sense? Daniel, does that make sense? Cecily's getting it. Yeah? Do you guys get it? Do you get what happened in the story? Good, because you have
Wait,
to tell the story.
you know how do you know it's a friend?
You could make it a friend. Maybe you could make it a I've had other students make it a family member.
Yeah,
You'll
'cause if they leave a will, it's usually a family.
It's totally up to you. Whatever you want to decide, Elvin. And as you go through the film again on your own and you stop, you can do some more reading, right? Things that are just little glimpses in the film can be paused and you can really start looking at things, which is what we're going to be doing, honestly, for the second phase of this assignment, where you guys are going to be looking at the pictures that he looks through in the album, and you're going to add a flashback of Archie and his pet's memory. They're both in all of the memories. Okay, all right, you guys. Now we're going to move on. So establish it, change it later if you want. But once upon a time on a sunny autumn morning, right after the mail came, I don't know, something like that. Okay. Time words or phrases, moving through the roughest stormy weather. Now, these are things that you're going to be discussing in the middle of the story, right? The beginning, you've got to set us up, and then you're going to take us to the middle of the story to drive that action forward. So, example, moving through the roughest stormy weather, we journeyed from England for 2 full days. Up to you. Our journey began in sadness, pressing us toward the destination of Scotland, our destination of Scotland. Okay, so you've got to get those time words and phrases. Next, let's have some discussion. Let's share what story elements you remember from watching the film, and you can add these specifics to your notes as you answer the important questions. Now, the important questions are always who, what, when, where, why, and how. Before you copy and paste that, let me make sure that it's size 12 on my end and see if it works for you. So under those time words and phrases, copy your important questions. Okay, paste them onto your document. So first question, who are the characters? List their names, descriptions, relationship to each other. Describe them, okay? You know, one's Archie. 3 of you are doing the pet. If you want to call him a name, you're going to describe them, what they look like, okay? The pet is a little terrier of some type. It kind of looks most like a West Highland Terrier, but he could be like a rat terrier. Solid white though, right? Everybody got that copied and pasted for your brainstorming? Okay, good. Daniel, I can't see you, but I'm assuming you're on task here. All right, you guys, who are the characters? So you've got Archie, describe him. You've got his pet dog, call him pet dog or call him a name, describe him. What is their relationship to each other? How do you know based on this little film? Is Archie a difficult dog owner? Is he mean? Is he a taskmaster? Does he abuse or spank his dog? Yeah, that's what this story's about, right? Archie being really, really rough on his little dog. No, that's not what it's about at all. Describe Archie. Describe his personality. Describe the dog. Describe his personality. Describe their relationship. Clearly, there's devotion. Clearly, they love each other, right? They both share a meal at the table. That's companionship. That's friendship. Type, 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 type. You guys got this. Get some ideas down. We only have about 12 minutes left, so I want to get through as much of this brainstorming as possible. If the who is too difficult for you at this point, then move down to what. Now, the what is the plot. What are the main beats that happen? The rising action, the difficulties, the main event, that's the climax, the falling action as the story winds down. What is the problem or issue in the story? What did the characters learn? So there's lots of what's that you answer. It's the same as when you're writing an essay. You've got lots of what's. There's usually gobs of them. The what's are the beats of the story. The what's are the action. Okay, and do it chronologically. Do it in the order. Now, on your own, you've got access to this assignment. So watch the video, right? Over and over. See if you can get those beats down. What happens first? What happens second? What is the rising action? This is only a 4.5 minute, right? What is the rising action? What's the plot? Archie and his dog sharing a normal, I'll say morning, autumn morning. A letter arrives, right? The pet brings the letter over to Archie. He opens it up. He reads it. and learns a couple things all at the same time. Pretty intense things. It's a letter from whoever you want the other, his like, friend, uncle, aunt. Some people see it as a female, whoever you want it to be, grandma. Okay, who do you want it to be? Cousin, just friend. Um, he gets a letter from that dear person in his life, and that person has had a letter posted to him saying that it's my dearest wish when I die for you to have my cottage. Here's the key. And got a couple pictures of the friend and Archie, of the cottage itself, and we got the key. All right. That is all the rising action. Now, the difficulties happen on the trip over there. You could also consider that a difficulty is the emotional strain that Archie and his pet are going through. His pet might be going through it because he's so devoted to Archie. His pet could also be going through it because his pet also knew, as you can see from the pictures, the snapshots, his friend, his pet also knew their, I'll call it friend. Now, the difficulties in this take up a lot of the film itself. They have different modes of transportation. They are going through a storm, right? It's a pretty crazy storm too. Another difficulty is the wind pulls the picture of Archie and his friend from the photo frame and carries it away. Difficulty, they get into the cottage and it's dark inside. They have to light a fire. They arrive at night, right? It makes it a difficult story, that they're a difficulty that the character's going through. You would have to decide what you think the main event, the climax is in this story. Archie automatically goes through and starts looking at everything, right? He goes through, there's lots of sensory perceptions. He holds a candle up and he looks at all of the titles of the books and he finds photographs and he finds a photo album and he goes through the photo album and looks at memories that he shared. He's in the picture, so is his pet. So the climax might be when he goes to his friend's jacket and he hugs it, right? Or he smells it. It smells like my friend who's not with me anymore. Or the whole place might remind him of that. Or perhaps you think the climax would be the next morning when the pet runs out and maybe there's a cow out there, right? And all of Archie's things that got caught up in the wind are just kind of scattered about, but they're there. And Archie's pet goes and retrieves the picture. Maybe that would be the climax to you. Maybe it would be the emotional shift, how Archie's feeling the next morning when he's in the cottage and appreciating the gift from his friend and reveling in those memories. And then what would the falling action be? Depends on what you think the climax is. What was the main thing in this? And then the falling action would be when the story winds down. Maybe that would be, falling action would be the next morning. And then what is the problem or the issue, right? We have no control over Archie's friend passing away. The problem is that Archie misses him. But he finds what? Maybe some solace in returning to the cottage and feeling close to his friend, returning to those memories, right? Knowing that this precious place where all these memories took place is now his. Up to you guys. What do you think the characters learn? Can't bring his friend back. Do you think Archie's honoring his friend's memory by going right away, going through the storm, making it to that cottage, sitting down and remembering his friend? What do you guys think? Right? Think about that. What did they learn? There's lots of whats. The win in the story, Daniel, you mentioned that you thought the setting was pretty old-fashioned, right? So what are the clues that gave you an idea of a particular time period or the amount of time covered in the story? What do you think, Daniel?
The letters written in cursive, and also they drink a lot of tea. They have a
Okay.
special time.
So are you saying that might be something more old-fashioned in that like 50 years ago, or
30 years ago.
what would you say?
30 years ago.
30 years ago? So in the late 1990s,
Yeah.
as opposed to like the 1940s or 50s or 60s. You guys decide, okay? Now
Not,
remember, go ahead, Daniel. I'm sorry.
not really for
Okay. Yeah, you
but
guys, it's up to you to decide, all right, based on the clues that you think. Now, where is the setting and or location? So there are some clues. We know we're somewhere in the British Isles. The in the film we have a map, right? A map of the British Isles. So we know we're there somewhere. And then we also get an idea that the friend's cottage is in Scotland. What were some clues for that? How did you know that his friend was Scottish? Who can remember from the story? What were some of the things, some of the items that
There was like a picture of like Archie and the friend or family member.
okay, and but what about that helped you know that he was Scottish?
Oh, the map.
The map, definitely a clue on the Scottish. Do
Yeah.
you remember that that Archie's pet went over to a particular musical instrument that is only Scottish?
The bagpipe.
The bagpipes. Go Coco, you got that one. Yeah. So that's, you totally get the impression. You're like, okay, this is a cottage in Scotland, and he was definitely Scottish, right? And now Archie has this cottage in Scotland. All right. So
Bagpipes are Scottish.
bagpipes, yeah. Bagpipes are Scottish. So note for the wheres where the story begins. Might probably be in England or maybe Ireland, somewhere. Where it moves, now we know it moves because we go through the storm, and we also are on a train, and we're also on a boat, right? So they had to go out onto the ocean to get from point A to point B. We know point B for sure is Scotland. We know they're in the British Isles. They must be coming from one of the other, maybe Wales um, or Ireland or England.
It looks like England. No, it looks like London, like somewhere near there. In
Okay,
Southern
I
area.
like it. Okay, good. So England, right? England. I like that. Okay, why do they engage in action? This one's pretty easy. Why did they move? Why did they move from their cozy breakfast table to into this 2 days, go through 2 days of storms? What do you think, you guys? Why do they start moving? Why did they engage in action? Why didn't Archie just look at that letter and set it aside and stay seated right where he was? Didn't the letter say, "My dearest wish"? And what was the dearest wish? Obviously, because of the action in the story. I kind of filled in some blanks, but Cecily, what was his dearest wish? His friend, I mean.
To let Archie have, or to let Archie have like his cottage.
Yeah. So
Um,
he, go ahead.
sorry. So like maybe because like Archie might have been like really great friends with, and like he wanted to like let him have like make his like final wish come true. So he set out really.
Absolutely. And that because you also mentioned that he wanted to make his final wish come true, that brings us to the why. Okay. Why is the story meaningful? Why didn't Archie wait for great weather? Why didn't he just go, "Oh, great, I've got a cottage now in Scotland"? What does it show about Archie and his pet that they left immediately? What does that show about that relationship that he had with his friend or uncle, whatever you want to call that? What do you think, Elvin? What does it show? Why is the story meaningful? Elvin?
He was willing to go through like all the rough weather and stuff.
Yeah. And immediately, right? Yeah. He wanted to go there and be in that cottage where his friends, eh, all of those the things that he remembers were surrounding him, the things that belonged to his friend. He wanted to be close. Remember, he even grabbed a hold of the coat. Oh, this was my friend's coat. We're out of time now, but you need to have all of these questions answered. Okay, how does the story end? Is the problem resolved or satisfied? How do Archie and his pet change? And then I also would like for you to go through and copy and paste the site all the way down to the challenge of feelings and describe what you can about what according to this character, what you see, okay? The things that you would hear. Now, we don't have actual sound effects in this, so what would you hear? All right, based on what you see. What about some smells? How about the food? What about the coffee or the tea or the scone and jam? What would it smell like? What would the storm smell like?
Wait,
What
I have
would...
a question.
Sure.
It asks like how
Mm-hmm.
the fifth one, like I don't know how to like just like answer that one.
Well, let's see the guidance here. How does the story end? So the resolution of the story, how does it wrap up? That's something to consider when answering how. Is the problem resolved or satisfied? Sorry, keep going off. How do Archie and his pet change? That's the message. Those are 3 different hows.
Wait, so like there's a like the problem is like uh what's the problem? Like they have to go to the cottage?
Yeah, the problem is his friend died and left him a cottage and he wants to go there and be there. Um, because he didn't get to say goodbye to his friend, right? But his friend left him everything. So the problem is he wants to get to that cottage because his friend has died.
Okay, I get it now.
Okay. All right, you guys. So the homework really what we're doing right now is we're getting your ideas down. I want to make sure that you've got information in all of those categories. And the meaning and the message, a story doesn't have a purpose unless the reader can understand the meaning of the story. There's lots of different meanings you can come up with. I've alluded to some ways that you can go. You might have another meaning. I don't know. It's up to you. And remember, you're considering this from your character's perspective. So there's lots of questions about this. Okay. And you can go over that. Ultimately, did the initial sadness of receiving the news in the letter have a meaningful outcome by the end? Right? He doesn't have his friend, but he does have the cottage, right? That contains all those memories and all the relics of the past, and it still smells like his friend. He's even got his coat and, his bagpipes. So get those ideas down in the notes. And for homework, what I'd like you to do is take those ideas in your prep questions so I can see how your ideas are going to turn into the story. So we'll do the story. You can start it, but the rough draft, I'll write it down here. You'll compose the rough draft based on your brainstorming next week. Okay? Are you guys good? Do you understand? Okay, get those ideas down. All those sensory perceptions, the who, what, when, where, why's, how's, all that stuff. All right, you guys. Have a great week. See what you can pull out of this. Make sure that you've got access to that short story and watch it over and over and over again because you're going to tell it, okay? Or show it, rather. All right. I hope to see you next week with lots of good ideas. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Have a great day.
You too, Coco.